Okay, okay. So, as far as discovering pain, like this can be an awkward thing to do. If you're going in and you're trying to find out what people's pain points, Trevor says sounds low to us.
Yeah, yeah, you do actually.
Okay, I was getting an echo, so I had to shut it down on that on my phone. One second, I'm gonna call back in.
All right.
Hold. Okay, how do I sound?
A lot better.
Okay, I had to get rid of that echo. All right. So, as far as finding a pain point, how are you able to uncover pain without seeming awkward? Because that's such a touchy thing. You know, people
Yeah,
don't know who you are. Maybe this is the first conversation you're ever having with them.
yeah,
Like, how are you going to do this without closing them off?
yeah. I just want to answer a question. So I don't know how to pronounce your name. My English is not perfect. So is it Evie? She says, can you repeat that tip? Which tip was it though? If you can elaborate on that, I might be able to help. But yeah, so yeah, like you need to ask, obviously, like you have to build this up. First, you have to learn about their situation. You cannot go into like emotions until there's some connection. Like you cannot just go up to like anyone and talk about whatever. Like it's like, meeting with a new person, you want to learn more about them before you would have like a deep conversation. And that's the same with the sellers. So if I talk to like, potential clients on the phone, then first I want to find out about their situation, like, where they are at, basically. So if it's a seller, you can ask like, how long have they lived in the house? You can ask if they actually like living in the house. And if yes, then why? If no, then why not? And if they are in the middle, you can say like, hold on, you don't sound too sure, like, what don't you like? Right? So like that's how you find out about the situation basically. And then you can pull out the emotions. If they tell you like, yeah, we like it, but we don't like it. Okay. And how long has this been going on? You know, like what kind of effect had that had on your like life, whatever. So that's like the order. Like you have to build it up, but like you have to be so if you call somebody, let's say, I mean, shall we talk about because I don't want to confuse people. Do we talk about like our method to pull leads, or is this like kind of like a general thing? Because obviously cold calling is completely different from like the way we get leads. So, you know, which route shall we go down so I don't confuse people too much?
Let's just use if it's an inbound lead from Facebook groups. Let's just use that scenario so we're stay
Right.
uniform.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah, so they, kind of respond to your post. I think we have questions in the training, by the way, like what to ask. But like really, you don't want to get into like how they are doing too much and like, what's the weather and all that kind of stuff because people pick up on that. Like you're gonna sound like just cheesy and sleazy. So you want to come across as somebody trying to help them, but also making yourself look more like an expert. So you are there to solve their problems. So you have to kind of create that aura, create that kind of like environment in their mind. Like, okay, this person is like, he's asking me good questions and I'm talking and, I'm kind of open now. So yeah, but what I would recommend anyway is if you guys get these leads from like Facebook is to get on a call with them like ASAP because that's the best way to build a connection. They can hear you, they can hear your tone, your voice. It's a lot easier than do it on Facebook. So yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, can
100%.
we actually see you now?
So,
Okay.
and another way that I use to get motivation is, you know, instead of asking, this is what a lot of people do. A lot of people say, you know, why are you selling? How soon are you looking to sell? So what Peter is saying is instead of coming off like that direct, which can sound kind of spammy, instead you pull back and you say, you know what, you're telling me that there's not a lot of work that needs to be put into this house. Basically, you just need to paint it and clean the carpets, and you are looking to get top dollar. So can I ask you a question? What's keeping you from doing the work yourself and listing this property? I mean, to me, that sounds like it'd be a better route for you.
Yeah.
And what's that going to do to them, Peter?
Yeah. So, you know, the why questions, like I want to touch on that, they are very dangerous. If you don't ask why questions at the right time, you like, you know, they're gonna push back. So the training I'm going through, it teaches about like, you know, being neutral, using words, you know, possibly, maybe, might be, all that stuff, right? So instead of asking why are you selling, you could ask something like, you know, can I ask what may be driving the need for you to sell this house? Like it's the same question, but it lands a lot softer, right? You know, rather than asking why, you ask like, you know, what's driving the change for you to maybe sell this house in the first place, you know?
Yeah, 100%. So how do you pull out urgency without seeming too pushy? So what are ways that you use their own urgency almost against them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So first you have to, this is like comes down to like the psychology. So first you guys need to see if there is a deal to be made in the first place. Because if you try to, you know, persuade somebody that is not ready to sell and their house is not a good deal, then you're trying to like negotiate on that. That's just, you know, not gonna work. It's like you are a vegetarian, but I'm trying to sell you meat to eat. You know, it just doesn't work. So you have to find out if they want to sell and how soon. You can, you know, ask that like I mean, you can get that from the questions you ask, but urgency, you can ask, okay, so if they tell you like they want to sell, okay, can I ask how long have you been trying to sell this house for? Oh, like in the last 6 months. Okay. And just curious, what's prevented you from selling this in the last 6 months? Then you need to listen.
Ooh.
They might tell
Okay,
you.
hold on, Peter. Everybody write those two things down. What Peter just said, that's gold. So can you say those two things again?
Yeah, so you want to ask first, like, if they say like they looking to sell, you know, you can ask, just curious, how long have you been trying to sell this house for? Right? That's one. Then, you know, they might tell you 6 months. Okay. And in the last 6 months, like what's prevented you? Like, you know, why the house didn't sell? Like, you know, what happened? Of course, they can tell you a lot of things. It might have been listed with an agent, but it just didn't go through. There was no like buyers, whatever. Or they can say, yeah, it's just time and all that stuff. And then, so they tell you why, how long. Okay. And I guess let's suppose you were able to sell this house. Like, what would you do then? Right? People will tell you, I would move. Like, I could,
Write that down, guys. After you sell this house, what's your plan? What are you going to do?
yeah. And then, you know, they tell you, like, again, you need to listen. This is the other thing. You need to listen to what they tell you, right? You need to find those like pain points, the words that they use, stress, frustration, you know, behind on mortgages, all that stuff. You need to dig into that a little bit. If they like, you know, give you like clues like that. And then you kind of take them to like dreamland. What if I sell my house? What happens then, right? And how you build urgency, but this takes confidence to ask. You go in, okay, but hold on. What if you don't sell the house for the next 6, 12, or even 18 months? You know, what happens then, right? You need to be a bit skeptical there. And if you did a good job prior, they're gonna tell you what? No, like, we need to sell this house. Like, we need to move. Now like then you need to come in and like obviously show them how you can help them and how you can help them to get out of the house. But you need to get to that level. That's why you need to take them through the situation phase, finding the problem, ask them what they've done about the problem, like if they tried to sell before, or if they had it listed before, if they had like other, people coming in, kind of being like, like interested. Okay, let's suppose you sell the house, you can move to like, to like another state. Like, what would life look like then for you? Oh, the kids would love it, and we could start over. It would be awesome. Okay, but hold on. What if you don't do like anything? What if you don't sell and you stay here for the next 6, 12, 18 months? What happens then? Then they tell, no, 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 like we need to move. That's how you build the urgency. And you build the urgency with your questions, because if you tell them, it just goes like, in one ear and out the other. But if you ask them and if they tell you, who else they telling? Themselves, right?
Yeah,
So they
very
talk to
good.
their subconscious, right? So yeah, that's kind of like in my books, like kind of how you build urgencies. Find a problem, see what they've done about the problem, and then if they solve the problem, what happens then? And then if they don't do anything, what happens? But you have to do this in order. Like you cannot start with, okay, what happens if you don't sell? Because it's just not gonna land and they're gonna push back. So that question needs to be asked at the right time.
So how do you begin to draw a picture so that they can visualize themselves doing the deal with you? That how do you make them make the connection between, look, this is your desired outcome, this is what happens after you sell the house, this is how you're going to get there is with my offer? How do you close that gap?
Yeah, so you can say something along the lines like, Mr. Seller, based on our discussion, I feel like how I help people solve their problems, I could, potentially help you as well. If you would like, I can run you through how that would look like. And then you ask like, would you like that? And people will tell you, yeah, for sure, like tell me. They're gonna be like curious, right? And then you just walk them like through the steps. It depends what kind of, if you do wholesale, it's different. If you do sub two deals, it's a bit different. But you want to explain it to them in a very like digestible way where they can understand it, because you need to understand some sellers, they don't like know like all this kind of lingo that we use like in this industry. So you want to keep it very simple, very short, and you need to attach what like they told you. So like once we come in and sell your house, you're gonna get this cash offer. We're gonna close in 30 days, like no cost to you. We're gonna remove all the junk. So then you can move to the state you want to move to. You can start over, and like you kind of paint the picture what happens if they go with you. So you explain to them how you solve the problem, how you help them to sell their house, and also because you're gonna help them, they're gonna be able to do X, Y, Z. You need to keep like feeding that back to them, like what they said they want, basically.
Okay. And then if they tell you no, then you're painting a picture of the outcome if they go down that road.
If they tell you no to your offer, do you
Yes.
mean? Or yeah, so I mean it depends what they tell you. Like I mean what objections they might have, like if they don't like the numbers, or like what? Like
I
in
got to think about
fact,
it.
sorry?
I got to think about it, or I want to shop around more. I want to get more offers.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, you need to show some empathy. I mean, think about it like that can mean a lot of things though, right? So, if a seller would told me like they have to think about, like I would just clarify like, okay, no problem. Like, I could touch base with you in a day or two if you would like. And then you have to get a time commitment. So let's say, okay, I know it's a big decision for you. So, if you want to take a day or two, that's fine. I guess we can, schedule another call or whatever. I can, come back. But first you need to get a time commitment on that. Okay. They agree to that. Let's say you meet them in 2 days. Then you go back with something like this. Okay. By the way, just curious, like in the next 2 days, just so I can, I can be ready for our like, next meeting here. Like, can I ask in your mind, like, what is it exactly that you would like to go over? Just so I can be prepared to like, kind of when I see you next time, right? And then
Yeah.
if you ask that question and they're gonna tell you, what are they telling you? Their concern, right? Like what's kind of holding them back? Yeah, like I just want to make sure it's the right deal. Okay. So that's their concern, like the price, like maybe the offer that you made. So you can negotiate from there. But think about it, can take you down a lot of paths. That's why you have to like somewhat clarify. But you don't want to say like what is it exactly you want to think about, because that's too direct. You have to get a
Yeah.
time commitment. So you need to give them some
Yeah.
breathing space. So get like a time. Okay, I'll come back in 2 days. And then you go back and ask, like, just curious, what is it exactly you would like to go through in your mind, just so I can be ready for our next meeting? They're gonna tell you, you need to listen and just go from there.
That's
Make
such
sense?
a better way than just coming out right and just being so direct and saying, what is it you need to think about? Because now you're a salesman, right? That's just salesy. But if
Yeah,
you're doing it with finesse, the way that you're doing it right there, um, they appreciate that, because they know you're just trying not to waste their time. You don't want to waste their time, and you don't want them to waste your time. You're being a professional,
yeah, yeah,
and that's a good way to isolate. Go ahead.
yeah, and the other thing that is, um, hold on, I froze there for a second. So you have to be like human. It's all about connections, because by like at this stage, if you did a good job, people will trust you. So at this level, if you did a good job, you can actually challenge them, but not without sounding rude. But you can go back like, I understand like what you're saying, but I'm just concerned. You've been trying to sell this house for the last 6 months. You couldn't. You said you want to move to XYZ states so you can like, start this life. So like, what's gonna happen though if you just keep, taking the same action, and like, like the same kind of thing that you do, like. So sometimes you need to go back and like do that again. And the other thing I was going to tell you now, I just remembered, is if you guys use analogies, that helps people to understand and attach emotions to like what you're trying to tell them. And you can make your point come across like real clear without you telling them like what they should do. Just to give you an example, if you talk to someone that is, sometimes you have to, like educate people, because if you give them like a cash offer, like, what happens? They might just like push back, like, like, no, like you're crazy, like, like, this is just not the right price. Okay, but you need to stand your ground and explain the process to them, like, look, I understand how you feel, and I know it might sound low, but here are the like, some of the things, like, you don't have to wait months. You don't have to rely on a realtor here, and you don't have to pay like any like commissions and like closing fees, nothing. So we take care of all that, so you can be out like quick. And to illustrate this is what you can say, like, if you take your car to like a used car lot and maybe you part exchange it, they're not going to give you full value for your car, right? But they're gonna be able to like they're just gonna take it. They're gonna like deal with like all the reselling and stuff, and you can pick a new car, and they save you all that headache, all that time that like, people come to your house and, looking at the car. So you can use that analogy in like, yeah, like we don't pay full market value here, but, you know we can save you a lot of time. And Mr. Seller, we can always make money, but time is precious. Once we spend it, it's gone. So basically, what do you want to do? So you need to paint a picture like that in their minds, like, um, making your point come across that way. If they are not like, educated, like how, because some people don't know like how like a wholesale deal works, their mind just gonna give them a price. They're gonna think it's too low. And if you don't know what to do and like kind of where to go, you could leave a potential deal on the table, because you have to sometimes, educate people and tell them like why your offer is that low. And if you put the logic behind it, like, look, like you don't have to pay anything, you're gonna be out quick, and you can like start over. Like, would it not be worth it, like, to like get less money, but you can be out of here?
Yeah, and really caring about their situation and custom tailoring it to them, because they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And you
Yeah,
say, so you're like, look, I want to work with you. I want to get you what you want. You're telling me that you need enough money to get into a rental. I want to make sure that that can happen, even if that means I'm going to pay a little bit higher. I want to make sure that you're taken care of in this deal. I want to make a win-win. And you're probably not going to go up to retail, but you will give them what they want, give them what they desire, and try to meet them there. So yeah, this is very good stuff, Peter. How about isolating objections or recognizing if somebody gives you a false objection? If somebody says, you know, I need to think about it, that they probably don't really have to think about it, just like you were saying before, and you're able to pull out those objections. But another objection could be, you know, that's your offer's too low. But that might not be the case, right? That might not be their only objection. It's just a surface level objection. So how do you isolate objections when you get the feeling that that's not it, what they're telling you?
Yeah, so in my process, I work a lot on preventing objections, you know, rather than getting it at the end. So if you do a good discovery, then it typically, the only thing it can come down to is your offer and the price that you give. It cannot be anything else, because if you ask the right question at the right time, you're going to build the urgency. So you're going to know by then, if somebody tells you in the beginning of your conversations that they're not looking to sell in the next 6 months, you might as well like not waste your time, you know. But if you find out that they are motivated, they need to sell because they want to like move out of state, or, you know, they have family members to take care of. The only objection you can get at the end is the price, is like, you know, how much you offer. And yeah, sometimes it's hard to it's kind of hard to find out, like, you know, to know the difference between smokescreen objections and like real objections. Because think about it, like, you know, again, it can mean a lot of things. That's why I have this like 2 steps where they say, you know, they want to think about it. You get like a 1-2 day like time commitment, you know, to get back with them. If they agree to that, that's a good sign. And then you can go back and ask, like, okay, just while I'm away in this next, like, you know, day or two, like, you know, what is it exactly you would like to go through in your mind, just so, you know, when I come back next time, I can serve you, like, you know, better, right? So you talking that you want to help them, and they're going to feel that you ask that in their best interest, not in yours. But if somebody doesn't even agree to a time with you again, it's probably you maybe missed a step, or they just don't want to sell. But some people just don't want to tell you. So there's only so much you can do there. You know, they might not want to tell you that they just don't like your offer, or, you know, whatever. But if you did a good job and there is like trust, and you like really listen to them, that's very rare these days, because, you know, everybody kind of you know, think about themselves these days, and, you know, that's just the world we live in. But if you, you know, if you find out like really what's important to them, and what's going to happen if they don't do anything, and what their desired, like, you know, outcome is, then you can give them a solution, your solution, like, you know, according to like that. So kind of based on that, maybe that's a better word, and just, you know, have them that way, I would say. But yeah, I mean, do you guys get objections? I mean, let's ask people, maybe that would be best. Like, if they do, like, what objections do they get from sellers? Like, what is it?
Yeah, guys, drop in your objections into the chat. What objections do you want to talk about? And right now I'm going to open up the chat because we got a couple people. Drew says, play the skeptical buyer. I love that. Yeah, that's so good. You want to play the mouse, not the cat. Don't chase them. Don't seem desperate. Be the skeptical buyer. Be the mouse. Make them chase you.
Yeah.
They're trying to sell you something, aren't they? You're not trying to sell them something. So be a buyer. Be a consumer. Trevor says, good nugget, Peter. And then Arthur says, please feel free to type these tactics into the chat. So anybody that wants to do that, feel free to do that. But yeah, definitely play the skeptical buyer, play the mouse. Good stuff, Drew. Drop in any objections that you guys want to go over with Peter before we close with Peter. Also, can you guys see me now? Can you see me, Peter?
No, I can't.
Okay,
No.
that's all right. I was hoping I fixed it.
Yeah.
But
I saw you for a few seconds.
Cool. Drop in.
Yeah.
What's that?
I said I saw you for a few seconds, like not now, maybe 10 minutes ago, but now it's just your like your phone is kind of showing that green, green logo thing.
Oh, so I fixed it for a second. Okay, I was just kind of messing around with settings while we were talking. Let me know if that turns it back on.
No.
What about now?
Yeah, it's on. Cool.
Boom! Done beats perfect. Clarity through action. So guys, that's something that I am huge on. I believe in wholeheartedly. I operate my entire life that way. Because if you are an analytical person, or you get stuck in making sure that all your ducks are in a row before you do anything, then you won't get anywhere in life. This is our very first virtual mastermind event, and there's a lot of things that aren't ironed out, and I could have waited months to say, okay, no, I need to have everything just perfect. But I'm traveling full time. We're actually on the road right now. That's the motorhome over there. And we just roll with it. I'm on the road all the time, so I can't have things perfect. And living that life for the last couple of years, just this adventure lifestyle of traveling around the world and just kind of building stuff on the fly, building the airplane in the middle of the air, or however that saying goes. And for me, since I've done that, it's given me so much freedom. And look how many golden nuggets that we've gotten, guys. I mean, you weren't able to see me the whole time, but able to get some good info, some good solid things that you can implement. And so in the very beginning of this call, we lost about the first 45 minutes. It wasn't recording. So to fill in people, anybody that's watching the replay, that first 45 minutes, we were just kind of going over the agenda, getting everybody into a messenger chat so we can communicate together. Not a whole lot happened. The one thing that was cool, that unfortunately you missed, but you'll get opportunity to hear it again, was results. People getting results, getting things done, getting their lead generation hands off, getting deals, and we're celebrating that together. But you guys will have opportunity to hear wins some more throughout this event. So let me jump back into the chat here. All right. JD says, I'm having a hard time connecting with some of them in the first place. I don't want to feel like I'm chasing them. So JD, what I think you're asking is that you feel like it's cold, like there's a door, like there's a wall, and there's resistance from the start with the sellers, or JC, sorry. So JC, are you saying that you feel like there's resistance, like some sales resistance, perhaps? Like there's a wall and the conversation is cold starting out, and you're trying to just find a way to get in to make a connection, a real connection, and build rapport. If that's what you're asking, say yes. If it's not, then clarify a little bit more. Yes, and also just to get in touch with them sometimes. Sometimes you can't get in touch with them. Okay, so to answer that first part right away, in order to get in touch with them, if you do a post in a group and then people are responding to that post telling you that they want to sell, instead of going in and just sending them a message on Messenger and starting the conversation that way, you have to also comment on their comment and tag them. So you say, hey, I sent you a direct message in the comments, and you make sure you tag them. Otherwise, a lot of your messages could be going to message requests. It's almost like a spam folder for Messenger, and they'll never see it. So if you're answering them in Messenger and then saying, hey, I sent you a DM, that's going to greatly increase your chances of connecting with them. And if you're already doing that, perfect. You're doing everything you need to do. This is a numbers game, and most people won't get to you. You won't be able to contact most people, and that's normal. You're looking for the people that are motivated enough to have a conversation with you and motivated enough to actually give you their address and give you information. Because sometimes you run into somebody and they don't give you their phone number, or they don't give you their address, and they say, well, you just make me an offer. And you're like, okay, well, what's your address? And they're like, I don't know, make me an offer. So people like that, they're not motivated, right? They're not, if they're not motivated enough to give you their phone number or give you their address, they're not motivated enough to sell at a discount. So, but I'm gonna let Peter answer the next piece of that. And how do you make a connection? Because when you first pick up the phone and somebody answers on the other end, you're a stranger and the walls are up. What do you do to bust past that, Peter?
So, yeah, so he says, I don't want to feel like I'm chasing them. Yeah, so what you want to do is you don't want to make them feel that you're chasing them either, right? Because that's when they're going to run like even faster. So the hardest thing to learn, guys, in sales, and it took me a while to like develop this, and like in any situation, especially if there is money to be made and money on the table, is to be unattached of the outcome, right? Because if you are able to do that, then you can be like really relaxed, and you make people feel like you don't care if they do business with you or if they don't. And once you're able to like achieve that, people will be more engaged and they're gonna like pull you in rather than push you away, right? So because there's probably a lot of people that they talk to, and like the people that I talk to sometimes, we had this guy, he's gonna sign up with us soon. He was with a company, and he was like, I said like, man, you're in this mentorship, like why are you even here, like what are you looking for? And he was like, oh, it's this and that. But I told him, I said, look, man, you just started with them, you invested money, go back and do what you can, and then if it doesn't work, then you can come back. So I basically pushed him away without telling him, yeah, man, like I think you need to pull out, you need to come and kind of do this with us. No, I said, go, do what you can, and then if it doesn't work, you can come back to us. And guess what? He came back, right? And I didn't like call him, and I didn't even follow up with him. He just came back and started asking questions. So if you make a seller feel that you really want to help, right from the get-go, and making them like feel relaxed with you, then like you're not going to have problems to connect with them. And yeah, they're probably going to be skeptical. I mean, that's how most people are. That's why you have to come in a bit different. You cannot be like everybody else. You don't want to tell them like, yeah, I can help you, like 100%, we're going to make you the best cash offer. No, what you want to tell people is, if it's okay with you, let's just run through a few quick questions just to see if I'm able to help you in the first place. Because if you tell them that, what is that gonna do in their mind? They're gonna be like, oh man, like this person is not even, like I kind of best engage with them just to see. It's like if you go to the doctor, right? They're not gonna tell you what your problem is and what they can do for you until they check you up a little bit, and just kind of like ask you some questions, and like where does it hurt, how long, and all that stuff. What did you do, like did you go somewhere else? So you need to do the same thing with the sellers right from the get-go. And it depends again how you talk to them, because if you meet them in person, that's different if you call them on the phone. But you want to sound like relaxed, neutral, hey, I'm just here to see how I could potentially help you. That's it. And if somebody, just like you said, Kyle, if somebody is not willing, they are rude, they keep pushing back. If they want a price from you without you having to like have a look at a house, like it's just impossible. Like it's like, you go to the doctor and you say like, this is where it hurts, then they give you something, but it might not be what you need. Like you need to look at the house, you need to see like, what repairs it needs. And if you're not willing to let you in, and or like maybe talk to you about that, like how can you make an offer, they're just not serious. They're just looking for a price, just kind of price shopping. So we have people coming on the phones like with us, and that's like, how much is this, but how can I tell them how much, because I don't even know if we can help them. So yeah, it's all about trust, it's all about connections, it's all about willing to help people, and walk away if need be. Like you have to like most of the leads probably that you guys talk to might not turn into a deal because there's something missing, right? So from the get-go, again, like being neutral is the key, guys. Like being so relaxed, like no big deal. And also, just like Drew said, being a skeptical buyer, in their mind, you don't want to be like, oh, like this person is so enthusiastic, they want to know. In their mind, what you want to come across is, okay, how much can they offer me? This person knows what he's talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. People are just digging what you're saying, Peter. Whitney says, love to see if we can help you. Great idea. Awesome info, Peter. JC says, great stuff, Peter. Kyle, thank you. Vincent says, good stuff, Peter. Yeah, you're getting people pumped. This is gold, Peter, says Drew. The vibes you give off on being desperate chases them away, 100%. So another thing that I wanted to bring up to JC is, so when your setter is setting an appointment to increase your show up rate. Oh, and by the way, Peter, I know that you have to run. You're on a tight schedule. Thank you so much for being on here, brother. I appreciate it. You
All right,
came
man.
and brought the fire and got everybody pumped up, man. Good work.
Cool. Yeah, man. All I want to leave with, I know some of you, like I signed you up, guys. So if you need any advice, you can always reach out to me. If you run into a situation where maybe you get stuck, just ask me, and I'll be there to help you. All right.
Good stuff. Thanks, brother.
All right. No, all right. Take care, guys. Have fun.
See ya.
See ya. See ya.
All right. So, James, thank you. Samiette, thank you. So another thing, guys, that I want to talk about to answer JC, he says, okay, so when my setters are setting an appointment, my show up rate is low, and I'm not able to talk to the seller. So one thing that you want to make sure that you do is that you use your Calendly link. So write this down. It's like calendar, but Calendly, L-Y. And what this is, it's a booking application that what it does is it gives you certain time slots, and somebody can book into your calendar. It's like a booking link. But don't have your setters give this to the seller. Instead, have the setters gather the information from the seller and get the seller to commit to a certain day and a certain time. And then the setter is going to manually put that information into your booking link. So then they will, yep, thanks, Vincent. So then they will get they'll get automatic notifications to remind them that the phone call is coming up. It puts it in their calendar, does the same thing for you. Now they've committed to a certain time and a set in stone. You're going to have a much better chance of getting a hold of them. If your setter is just getting phone numbers and then you're calling them when you get the chance, it's really going to hurt you. The best thing to do is to get them to commit to a specific time and then book it into the calendar. Say, hey, what's a good email so that I can send you a calendar invite? So don't say, hey, what's a good email so I can put you on the reminders. We used to say that and we got pushback. They're like, we don't need reminders, or I don't need a reminder. Like people almost get offended because they're like, I don't need that. So instead, if you say, hey, where can I send the calendar invite? For some reason, it makes all the difference. And they'll give you their email, and then you can send them a calendar invite, and that makes a huge difference when getting in contact with them. Also, I use a technique called the double tap. Now, if I'll call somebody on the phone, and if they don't answer, I leave a voicemail, and I send a text, and I send a message on Messenger, all at the same time. I say, hey, I just reached out trying to talk to you for our set appointment. We were going to discuss your property, and I was going to give you an offer. So then I text them, message them, and leave a voicemail. I wait about 3 to 5 minutes, and then I call them again right after that. Because what do a lot of people do when they don't recognize a phone number, especially with all the spam today? They just don't answer the phone number, right? They don't answer the call. So then you end up in a situation where they're like, dang, I'm not getting a hold of anybody. But if you message them even a half hour before the appointment and say, hey, this is Kyle, just wanted to let you know this is the number I'm calling from to talk to you about your property. I look forward to talking to you in the next 30 minutes. You could even do that, but give them recognition of that phone number so they know who it is, and then reach out to them a second time, do a double tap if you weren't able to get a hold of them. Cool. Now, jump into the chat once more. And we're about to take lunch, guys. So give me 1 minute while I mess with the settings. Now that Peter left, I don't know if you guys can see me. Can you see me? Yes or no in the chat? JC says, yes, perfect. Need to set up Calendly. All right, you guys can't see me. That's all right. So I'm going to see if I can fix that. We are going to go ahead and take lunch here shortly. And it'll be about half an hour for lunch, but then another half an hour is networking time. And I'm going to facilitate that. So the first half hour is lunch. Second half hour is networking time. If you need the full hour for lunch because you got to go run and get your food or something, then go ahead and take the whole hour. But I definitely strongly encourage you to go get lunch real fast, eat fast, so you can come back and we can all network for half an hour, get to know each other a little bit better. And let me see if I can fix something real quick. Let me know if that fixed it. Can you guys see me, yes or no? Nope. Okay, no big deal. All right, so before we go to lunch, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about what we're going to do. So half an hour, we are having lunch. We're going to eat. Then half an hour after that, come back for the networking. If you need the full hour to eat, go ahead and take the full hour. But just remember, if you come back to your desk, come back to your computer, you're going to be able to participate in the networking part of this event. So the things that I have in store for us for when we get back is we are going to jump over to a new Zoom link. The new Zoom link that I use is going to fix the problem with video. And it's going to also, so you guys will be able to see me, but then I'll also be able to see you if you're in a place to turn on your camera. And then we'll be able to talk freely. You guys will be able to talk, and we'll be able to go into breakout rooms, which are like smaller subgroups where you guys can network. So we're going to be doing some of that stuff to where we can work together. The networking time, we're going to be talking about who you are, what market are you in, what kind of real estate investing do you do, what is your favorite piece of real estate advice, and then in the main Zoom, each leader will share the greatest tip that they got. So we're going to go into breakout rooms, talk about different pieces of real estate advice that you've gotten over the years. Pick your favorite one, share it with the subgroup, and then the subgroup is going to vote on their favorite tip, and then we'll come back together in the main group and then share the greatest tip. So that's what we're going to be doing on the last part of lunch. And then after the networking is over, we're going to be doing an exercise in reviving leads. And we're going to be diving into your database and show you guys how we do our follow-up campaigns. I call them heavy follow-up campaigns or aggressive follow-up campaigns, where we'll go into our database with intention of getting a deal. Like, all right, there's a couple deals in this database, let's go get them. And then we'll work on reviving leads or rekindling conversations to get people to close. So we're going to go into that exercise. We're going to help you identify the leads you need to reach out to. Then I'm also going to give you guys tools on how, instead of reaching out to them individually, you can blast them all at once. We're going to craft a script on blasting them. And then I'm going to show you guys how to look at offers differently. If you're using the 70% rule, the 70% rule is dead. So I'm going to show you a different way that you can present an offer to these guys. And then we're going to be talking about the scripts. I'm going to give you guys an example of a script, have you start writing out a script, and we're going to do this again in subgroups, smaller breakout rooms. And then you guys can collaborate and talk about your script, share what you wrote down, and then get feedback. And another thing is you're going to pick a deal that you're working on or something that you're looking at, break down the numbers of the deal, show it to the rest of the group, and then get feedback to, because the way you evaluate a deal, it might be different than the way somebody else is. And maybe that's your bottleneck. Maybe you're just looking at deals wrong. So we're going to be diving into that, getting live feedback from the rest of the group. And there'll be smaller subgroups, so it'll be small groups, so it's not intimidating. You guys are able to share freely. Okay. Other thing we're going to do is delegating the creation of a drip campaign. So if you don't have an email drip campaign, a voicemail drip campaign, and a text message drip campaign, I'm going to show you guys what you need to do in order to get those things started and get them set up, what software to use, and then also show you how to find a VA that specializes in that so they can do that for you. It's about leveraging OPW or other people's work. I don't want you guys doing that yourselves. It's a lot of work, so I'm going to show you guys how to delegate it effectively. And then at 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, we're going to have Effie come on. And Effie is my corporate trainer and really my HR manager. She oversees the hiring, the firing, the training, the team meetings, retention, managing the managers. Like she is it. She's like my officer. And she's going to come on and be dropping some fire, dropping some tips. If you like what PG, we call him PG. If you like what Peter was talking about with sales and closing, you're really going to love what Effie talks about when it comes to finding A players, retaining A players, and building team culture. If you got a lot from Peter, you're going to get a lot from Effie. All right, and then at 3, we're going to have Justin Arrington on. Justin Arrington is one of our students that made 6 figures. I think it was in his first 30 days, he made 6 figures from Facebook groups. The dude's an absolute beast. He's an animal. He's so good at what he does. And he's going to tell you what's working, what's not working, and what he had to change, because there's ebbs and flows of Facebook groups, and there is such a thing as ad fatigue. You will get good results on the bot in the beginning, and they'll die down if you don't do certain things. So I'm going to have Justin dive into that and tell you how he got consistency using this method. Okay, and then I'll dive into that as well. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about wins again towards the end. And then at the very, very end, before we close for the night, I'm going to be going over 3 secrets of Facebook groups, telling you guys the secrets that I've learned about Facebook groups along the way, diving into the BotFox story, talking about my journey of traveling the world, getting into real estate, some of the struggles that I ran into in the beginning, and the things that made all the difference for me. That's what we're going to be doing towards the end. Many of you guys have stayed. It looks like we had 2 people drop off. I appreciate you guys staying for as long as you have. For those of you that stay towards the very end, you're going to be getting a couple things for free. There's some gifts for those of you that stay towards the very end. And one is the training black book. So I have this training black book that it has every video training and every live training that I've done in the Facebook group since the beginning of time. And it's all listed and documented to where you can find out, where my trainings are, find the different category or the different topic that you want to learn on, and it's all in one central place, one location where you can easily access all of my trainings since the beginning of time. And it's constantly updated. It's a Google document, so it's always being updated. And any trainings that I do on the future will also be on there. So instead of trying to figure out when I'm going live in my group or when I have somebody coming on for an interview, because it's a bit random, this document is like a master list. How exciting is that? You guys pumped up for that? So I'm going to give you that as a freebie for those of you that stay today and also stay tomorrow. The 3rd day is for active members only. It's for Mastermind, meaning people in the year-long program. It's for them only. So this is our Mastermind event. Day 3 is for Mastermind students only. Day 1 is for members that have purchased this program now or in the past. Day 2 was going to be Day 2 is going to be for active members in the 3-month program or in the Mastermind, but people that are in the middle of the program that are currently active. So active members only, but because this is the first one, and because it's a smaller group, I'm going to give all of you guys access to day 2. At first, it was just active members. Now it's for past members as well. But everybody gets access to day 2, and anybody that stays at the end of both days, you get that training black book. And also, I'm going to give you my course for those of you that are not members. If you're a guest here and you got invited, you get to stay for day 1. And if you stay till the end of today, then you get a gift too. You get the training black book, and you get a free course from me. I have a virtual wholesaling course. It's called the 7-Day Challenge, Build Your Virtual Wholesaling Team. It's phenomenal, and you'll be able to, you'll get free access for that. So guests get free access to that for staying to the end. And if you had to watch the replay, because there's probably a lot of people that are going to be watching the replay, go ahead and message support@botfox.net. If you've gotten this far, then I know that you've probably watched you know, a lot of it. So email support@botfox.net, and then ask for your gifts if you stay to the end. And then we'll make sure that you stayed to the end, because we can look in our analytics. But if you stayed for the first day, even if you're watching the replay and you're a guest here, email support@botfox.net, say, hey, I'd like my free gifts from the Mastermind, and we'll make sure that you get those. Cool? All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and take lunch. We're about 3 minutes late for lunch, so go jam. You know, spend half an hour to go eat, and then come back to your computer for the last half hour. We're going to do a little networking exercise. If you need the full hour to eat, take the full hour to eat. But then just know that right when I come back at 1, we're diving into our next exercise. And I got a lot of stuff planned, so it's going to be pretty crammed, pretty back to back. The other thing I need to do for our exercise is give you guys the link. So 1 second, I'm going to give you guys the link for the new room. So let me pop this open 1 sec. So we're going to a new Zoom room, which is going to fix some of the tech issues that we're running into today. I'm dropping it in the chat here on Zoom, but I'm also going to drop it to the chat inside the Messenger chat. There you guys go. If you see it, say, I see it. That is the new room. So when we come back, we're meeting in a different room. That's it. Okay, now I am also dropping it in our networking messenger chat. So that is the meeting room. I'm going to leave this open, but I'm going to disconnect. When you guys come back, this room will be shut down. You will not be able to rejoin from this room. You'll have to go to that new link, but I'm going to leave this open for a little bit so you guys can make sure you copy and paste it, write that down, write that access link down if it's in the chat, and copy, paste it, put it somewhere, because this room will not be here when you get back. It will be shut down, and you won't be able to get back into the chat. So make sure you guys are grabbing that. Copy and paste the link. All right, guys, have a good lunch. See you here at 12:35. Yeah, 12:35, and then we'll start the networking event. See you guys soon. Have a good lunch.